Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about multipart EXR files and AOVs. So multipart EXR files are files that allow you to put different, essentially break the image up and the lining up into different layers. Much like when you create texture, when you create your materials, you have, reflection and refraction, and all the different types of things you can have. Well, you can actually also control that in post by using multipart EXR files. And to do it in Cinema, it's basically, I just select OpenEXR, and I go back in Redshift. This is with the Redshift renderer. I tell it I want this, the EXR. You can actually produce as a separate setup. And then you have to go into the AOV manager, which allows you to select which passes that you want. Now, in my case, I didn't quite get all the passes that their diagram suggests, but I didn't go for like translucency and refractions. I didn't think I had them in the scene. But given my scene came out a little light, or a lot light, and probably I'm missing something here. So anyway, you have to select direct here. That I know, because if you don't, it's not going to give you it's going to give you an error. So here are your different passes. The diffuse is basically your color, global or illumination, of course reflections, shadows, ambient inclusion, your beauty pass, which is the typical path, what you print out without going into AOs, your specular lighting, and your background. And I put them together as per this diagram here in Fusion. So I don't have caustics or subsurface scattering. So I did do diffuse. You add them. Now, this is a filter. Filters, if you think about what add and multiply is, if you add, it's kind of like a OR. You just put everything together. Multiply, remember, if a pixel, if it's 0, then you multiply 0 times 1 is 0. So with filters, you always do multiply. You do multiply as seen here in the diagram. Now, the other one I did was the reflections, the specular lighting. I didn't do refractions. I did add in the background. So let's take a look at what I got here. So this, I believe, is set to... What is it set? Oh. I don't know what I'm looking at there. So this is image. I must be in the wrong. No. This does not have layers, but this would be your, I guess, your beauty. Kind of odd that this is. Probably pulled the wrong thing in. Anyway, yeah, because this is the pass that doesn't have. This is one layer. Then we have a diffuse with that is multiplied by the filter and adding GI, global illumination, and there's your reflections. So you have your filter again, raw, multiply, and the result is added again. and your specular added, your background added, and you have your output, which exists. Now, what I think may be so you see how light it is here, and before I add that, it's, I don't know how, yeah, see it's a little, this doesn't, well, if you can see, this is here, and this is here, so this seems to add a little, this adds a little light here. This is your base. It looks a lot like your, this one here. And, of course, so you can, by hitting these little dots down here, you can tell, which you can look at either this side or this side. So why would you want to do this? So now you're breaking it up into all these different pieces, and you got to put it back together. And ultimately, this is what came out. And that is ultimately what came out. You got your little bit of your specular, your reflections, which would be, yeah, you see a little bit right there. Whoop. And your diffuse is just kind of dark and bland, right here. See if I can get that there. Compared to this. Now, but why would you want to do this? So, you'd want to do this because it gives you more control. When you add, there are also other passes you can add. So you can color correct or adjust any of these separately. You can adjust your diffuse lighting. You can adjust your reflections. You can adjust your specular lighting. All these things can now be adjusted separately. And of course, this is Fusion. There are other, it's basically all the compositing apps will support this. So this is what it would look like in After Effects, you know, with the layers, your background, refraction, you know, diffuse, translucency, reflection, specular, refractions, and background. And if you look at this one, this is more of a chart based. So they all kind of, you do these different, I guess, subcomps, and you put them together and you end up with your raw composite. So, and of course Nuke, this is what Nuke does. You can break it into the different areas and add your background and your specular and you know, so they're all kind of coming together to put it back together as one piece. Now to look at it, let's have a quick look at it in what it would look like, what it looks like. And you see, this is pretty similar to the brightness we got here. Let's see what happens when we do a Redshift render view. Let's start her up. See what we got. Yeah, so I did come together correctly. My guess is what that other image was just simply the diffuse. And you can see it's coming together here. And you compare it to here, right there. And swapping between programs here. And you can see this has a little additional light coming on. So this also has support for cryptomats and puzzle mats, and they essentially allow you to create mats that allow you to separate out the objects. So if you want to change the back, let's say this background here, you can separate out the block and put just the block on top of the new background. We're not going to get into them right now, but that's a very powerful part of the AOV system. A little bit separate from reconstructing a beauty pass. So, anyway, AOVs will give you a lot of flexibility to adjust things separately in post. That's why you do it. It is, you can use them in whatever tool you use, be it After Effects, be it Fusion, be it Nuke. You can very easily separate them out, as we saw here. Let's bring this back up. You see how we were able to take that one file that looked like nothing and separate out different different passes and different, so the global illumination, we can, the diffuse, and just different aspects of the image. So you can, it's very easily done, and this isn't quite, Fusion is not quite as powerful as Nuke, but you can see it can get the job done. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you next time. Take care.